Dr. Pai, like you said, you are essentially a researcher and you love to research. So, as a researcher, which two combinations of planets intrigue you the most in their dasha and antardasha?
Some Mercury.
So, Sun Mahadasha, Mercury Antardasha.
Yes.
Could you just dive a little deep and tell us why?
See, both are very essential if you want to understand Jyotish. And Sun and Mercury are what we call as Nipuna Yoga or Buddhaditya Yoga are created. I told you, when you have to interpret dashas, you have to understand yogas also. Because which yoga will be giving results. And for doing Jyotish, if you have to understand Jyotish, then you have to have a very strong Buddh that everybody tells, isn't it? Buddh is your interpretation of patterns that are there. Okay. And using analysis. And Surya is what shows you the light. Wherever Surya is there, you will see light there. In your chart, wherever Surya is sitting, that is where the light is the maximum. And that is why anybody who has Surya in the eighth house or Surya coming into Scorpio sign, they can do little bit of esoteric sciences. Esoteric sciences is like Jyotish is one of them. Divination sciences. So Surya Buddha combination, I would say, is very. And one more thing, in South India, where I come from, there are certain sandhis which are said in dashas also. There are certain sandhis, and we are asked to do, remedies for these sandhis. So one of them is we say Shukra Aditya Sandhi, which means whenever you are going from Shukra Mahadasha to Surya Mahadasha, that is when you have to do a Sandhi puja, Shanti puja for them. Next is whenever you are going from Kuja Rahu Sandhi, we say. Kuja means Mangala, Mars, when you're going from Mars Mahadasha to Rahu Mahadasha. Because you know why? As Alokji mentioned this is Dasha Chidra, where Dasha Chidra means you're piercing from one Dasha to another Dasha. This Sandhi period is going to be very, very difficult for that transition to happen. The last is, Rahu Brahaspati Sandhi. Like what we say is Shanti Puja, whenever you're going from Brahaspati, Rahu Mahadasha to Brahaspati is Mahadasha. That is when also these are the intersection points. Okay. So whenever you're going through these intersection points, you should observe your life events because there is going to be a Chidra. Chidra means like a pierce arrow which goes through the wood. It goes inside. It doesn't stand here when you up an arrow. Okay, it goes. So it pierces through the dasha. It carry forward some of the dashas to the next one. So that is my view. And lastly, I know I'll take too much of time and I'll explain some things. So apologies for that.
No,
Uh,
no.
but
Dr. Pai, please go
one,
ahead. Please.
I'll give you one more small little tip for all of your viewers. See, if you have to really understand how a dasha and antardasha will interplay, take the weekday as the Mahadasha. I am giving you an example. Okay. Let us take Mangal Mahadasha you are going through. And you are going through Buddha Mangal Mahadasha and you are going through Buddha Antara. One step I would give you to study this, how this will be, how this will play out, is on Mangalwar, okay, Tuesday. And in Buddha Hora, which means Mercury Hora, see what events are happening in your life during that 1 hour on a Tuesday. You would get like a snapshot, just we say a trailer is there, right? A trailer can be seen what is going to happen in that Mangal Mahadasha and Buddha Antardasha. Right. Similarly, if you see all Mahadashas will start with the Antardasha of the same Mahadasha Nath. Correct? And then you will see within that Antardasha, Pratyantardasha is also going to be the same as the Mahadasha and Antardasha Nath. Now, if you can really study all the planets, the 9 planets which are coming within the sub dasha, they would give you a flavor of the entire Mahadasha in one snapshot. Are you understand what I'm saying? Say, let us say Mangal Mahadasha. Okay. And you have Mangal Antardasha. And then you have Mangal Pratyantardasha. And in that Mangal Pratyantardasha, you will see all the 9 planets Sukshma Dasha will be going on. that might happen within a period of 7 8 days or something when you go further down. So that's, and it is how that dasha is going, because see, if you have to taste salt when you're cooking food, you drink the entire thing to see, taste the salt, or you just take a sample of it. Similarly, dasha and this sub dashas will give you a flavor of what that dasha will play out for you.
That's very interesting.
Okay.
Yes, this thing,
Very.
because you're actually feel, so see that for a small, because Mangal Mahadasha to really understand is 7 years, है कि नहीं? तो अगर आपको एक टेस्ट चाहिए कि कैसा होगा, तो फिर आप अंतरदशा में जाइए, और अंतरदशा में, प्रत्यंतर दशा में all the 9 planets will play. So it is Mangal, 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 and all the other 9 planets, but the window is very, very shortened. So you will get the same flavor of the entire Mangal Dasha, how it is going to play within this 6, 7, 8 days period.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Try it out. I'm not saying that
Yes.
you have to take every word which has been presented here, test it, and then see for yourself how it is going to happen. So, in case you want to be, you are very cautious, you're anxious of knowing how would my Mangal Mahadasha and Saturn Antardasha go in the main period of Mangal, then go to the Mangal, 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 which means Pratyantar Dasha of Mangal, and then in that the Sukshma Dasha of Saturn. So that might be a very short time period to actually analyze. तो तब आपको पता चलेगा कि मेन महादशा में ट्रेलर क्या दिया है यहाँ। मूवी तो अभी भी, पिक्चर अभी बाकी है, बट ट्रेलर तो दिखाएगा वो। Is that, is it fascinating? Yeah, you should try to experiment with these things.
जी। ओके। आलोक सर, अगर हम वक्री ग्रह की बात करते हैं, सब मोस्ट ऑफ द चार्ट्स में कोई ना कोई ग्रह वक्री हो ही जाता है। सो व्हेन दिस रेट्रोग्रेड प्लैनेट कम्स इनटू महादशा, इसकी महादशा स्टार्ट होती है, तो इसके क्या रिजल्ट्स हम एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं महादशा में?
So retrogression is something which is like very mysterious in Vedic Jyotish, and everybody has its own views basically about retrogression. So what I've observed is any malefic planet or any क्रूर ग्रह, if it is retrograde, उसका दशा में भले ही उसका लॉर्डशिप भी अच्छी हो, इनिशियली लॉट ऑफ हिकअप्स विल कम बेसिकली। काफ़ी सारा इरेटिक बिहेवियर रहेगा उस ग्रह का, क्योंकि एक तो वो मेलेफिक है, दूसरा उल्टा भी चल रहा है। तो समटाइम इट कैन शो यू जस्ट अपोजिट व्हाट इज बेसिकली बीइंग प्रॉमिस्ड बाय द प्लैनेट। शुभ ग्रह का दशा हो, नेचुरल बेनिफिक है, नेचुरल मेलेफिक की हम बात करें, तो शुभ ग्रह की अगर दशा हो तो उसका इंटरप्रिटेशन मैंने देखा है। और अशुभ ग्रह के केस में भी एक तो आपको डिग्री देखनी पड़ती है कि अगर ग्रह वक्री है और 4 डिग्री पर है, 5 डिग्री पर है, सो बेसिकली जो प्रॉमिस कर रहा है चार्ट के, तो उसके रिजल्ट दशा के अंत में ज्यादा देने की पॉसिबिलिटी रहती है, बिकॉज इट इज गेम टू बी रेट्रोग्रेड। वेरेज अगर वो बहुत ज्यादा डिग्री पर वक्री है तो इनिशियली तुरंत रिजल्ट दे देगा वो, क्योंकि वो उल्टा चल रहा है। शुभ ग्रह फॉर मी, if it is retrograde, becomes more auspicious. Ashubh grah, natural malefic, becomes more inauspicious in terms if the lordship is also inauspicious. तो उसी तरीके से हम उसको इंटरप्रेट करते हैं, प्रोवाइडेड कि उसका प्लेसमेंट जहां पर वो बैठा हुआ है या उसकी लॉर्डशिप कैसी है। बट दो चीजें, किसी भी वक्रत्व के 2 या 3 चीजें ऐसी हैं जो ग्रह रेट्रोगेशन में हो, चाहे वो शुभ ग्रह हो या अशुभ ग्रह हो, वो होती ही है। नंबर 1 डिले, नंबर 2 ड्युअलिटी, यानी बार बार आपको वो काम हो सकता है करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि वो एक चेष्टा बल भी क्रिएट कर रहा है, तो वो छोड़ने भी नहीं देगा आपको, और हो सकता है कि वो डिसअपॉइंट भी करे। तो अशुभ ग्रह के केस में डिसअपॉइंटमेंट, डिले एंड ड्युअलिटी, कि बार बार आपको हो सकता है 2 बार या 3 बार काम करना पड़े। दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव ऑब्जर्व्ड इरिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ देयर नेचुरल मेलिफिक और बेनिफिक नेचर। ये मेरा अनुभव रहा। तो थोड़ा तो मुश्किल हो जाता है। और एक पैटर्न ये भी है कि ग्रह जिधर बैठा है, अगर वो वक्री है तो उसको एक घर पीछे से गिनते हैं। सो अगर आप एक घर पीछे से गिनते हो, तो अगर जो ग्रह फॉर एग्जांपल सैटर्न है, अगर आप उसको एक घर पीछे से गिन रहे हैं, तो फिर उनकी दृष्टियां भी 6 हो गई, प्लेसमेंट भी 2 हो गए। सो So it is now creating a lot of issues in the chart because it is aspecting sixth house, six houses. One principle says that any planet which is malefic in nature and retrograde in your chart can be a second Rahu in your chart, because Rahu is always retrograde. So it can be termed as a second Rahu. And if it is functional malefic also, it can create a big role. I mean, then you have two Rahus in the chart. Three retrograde, then you have got three Rahus in the chart. So what Rahu does in the chart is create desire. And retrograde planet also creates chestaval. It's more or less a desire. So what retrogression does in a chart is create a lot of aspiration and desire, but doesn't promise it to fulfill. So it's basically creating a frustration. So the planet is not allowing you to leave the desire, and it is delaying the response. So that's why it becomes a little tricky to predict that.
Okay. Dr. Pai, would you like to add something to this?
Yes, retrogression has always intrigued me very much because जो आप expect करते हो वो result नहीं आता है. That is something that I've observed. Whatever we think about, this is how it should behave. It is not behaving in that way. But what I want to say with the retrogression is like Alokji also mentioned, we talk about Rahu and Ketu being retrograde. But I want to, even for somebody who is very much academically interested, you will know one thing, that Rahu and Ketu are not perpetually in retrogression. Remember one thing. See, that is why you will have to see the state where they are at the time of birth. Mostly what we take is what we call as mean nodes. Mean node mein kya hai? They are always in retrogression. Okay, mean is the mean position, but these are mathematical points. So these mathematical points, they go in a very rough manner. Matlab, for example, they go 4 steps forward, 3 steps backward, then 2 steps forward, 1 step backward. So they are moving in a very, you know, they're moving in retrogression effectively, but they are not moving smooth. Retrogression is not happening. So even when you look at Rahu in your chart, look in what state it is in the true position at the time of your birth. Then you will know whether Rahu was in real retrogression or it is moving up. So effectively it is going in backward, but at that moment it might have like the pendulum. You have to see where is the pendulum. So that is why it is a mean, means you will take the two extremes and then you will take the mean out of it. So effectively, Rahu and Ketu will be in retrogression. So that's why whenever you're looking at retrogression, this study of mine is incomplete, is because we do not know in this retrogression cycle of the planet at where it is, whether it is in stamba, which means it is in stationary, or whether it is coming, slowing down and going towards becoming direct from where it is, or it is in its peak of its retrogression speed. So the speed of the retrogression will also have a say in the results that they are going to give during the Dasha or the Antardasha, which I feel there is a lot of more research that needs to be done. Okay, to see the strength of the planets. Like we all agree that there is going to be Cheshta Bala that is there, the planetary, but that's why it is very, very difficult for me in my study to see how a retrogression planet will give. The results has been a very tricky thing for me, because we have to take into consideration where they are in that cycle of that retrogression. Are they at the beginning of the retrogression? Are they in the middle of the retrogression? Are they in the finishing point of the retrogression? Or are they stationary? So that's why you'll have to study a little more charts to make a better analysis, which in my view, there is a lot of more work that needs to be done when it comes to retrogression of planets. But retrogression of planet means something that you have not done as a karma in the previous life, which has come to the surface this time, that you cannot avoid it. So retrogression shows you some very strong karmas that are there related to the planet, whichever houses it lords, whichever karakas of that planets are going to be very strong. Say for example, Mangal is retrograde. So in this lifetime, it is trying to tell you, when your Mangal Mahadasha is also going to come, that don't be inconsiderate to your younger siblings, or where you have not shown courage, where you had to show courage, you didn't show. That's why it is come as a retrogression, which means you didn't rise up to the occasion and you had the powers to actually fight or to avoid something, but you let it go. So this time it will test you onto the same areas multiple times. It will throw instances at you. Basically, see, what I want to say is dashas are an interplay of things that either you have done very well in the past, that's why it's going smoothly, or where you had not taken responsibilities and you are shied away from it in your past incarnations or past. And this time it is throwing you many such tests and seeing how are you going to fare in that test. Do you understand? So that's why we feel it is hard, Dasha, but actually the Dashanath is not giving, it is giving you more opportunities to repent and to resolve the unfinished things that are there. So Dashanaths are always favorable. You find it is good or bad is because of your own karmas. So don't blame it on the Navagrahas or the planets because it's your karma you're dealing with, isn't it? So make peace with them and love them and to start working with them. I think then it will start helping you in a great way. To summarize, I say retrogression is definitely much needed. More work is to be done to understand retrogression.
सो सिमिलरली जब कोई प्लैनेट कंबस्ट होता है, जैसे डॉक्टर पाई ने अभी पहले बताया था कि सूर्य और शुक्र की बात की थी उन्होंने, तो जब कोई भी प्लैनेट कंबस्ट होता है तो उसकी महादशा में हम क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं?
सो कंबशन एक ऐसा फिनोमेनन है जिसको ऋषि पराशर ने शायद हर जगह जब भी किसी ग्रह की बात की है कि उनकी डेफिनेशन में ये कैसा है कि कंबशन इज नॉट वेरी ग्रेट, राइट? तो जब जब भी या कोई भी और टेक्स्ट आप देखोगे तो ग्रह नीचस्थ हो, कंबस्ट हो, शत्रु राशि में हो, राइट? सो इस तरीके से देखते हो। तो कंबस्ट ग्रह का दशा को समझने के लिए सबसे पहले आपको ये समझना पड़ेगा कि कंबशन में होता क्या है। सो कंबशन में बेसिकली द प्लैनेट इज near to sun and sun has a nature to burn everything because it's basically fire. तो आपको उस जलन से और उस ताप से निकलना पड़ेगा जब भी उस ग्रह की दशा लगेगी जो कंबस्ट है। ये एक अलग बात है कि सूर्य के ताप से जब आप जलते हो तो आप शुद्ध होते हो। सूर्य का सबसे पवित्र अग्नि है, उस ताप से जब आप जलते हो तो आप शुद्ध होते हो। बट एज ए ह्यूमन जब हम उस दशा को एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं जो कि अस्त ग्रह की या कंबस्ट ग्रह की दशा है, तो उस जलन से आपको गुजरना पड़ता है। दैट मीन्स इट्स अ वेरी टेस्टिंग एंड लर्निंग टाइम फॉर यू। इसीलिए किसी को भी बुरा समय किसको पसंद आता है अपने जीवन में, और डंडे से सीखना किसको पसंद आता है? बेसिकली हम चाहते हैं सभी लोग कि हम कंफर्टेबल रहें, अपने जीवन में प्रसन्न रहें, जो काम करें एक बार में हो जाए या जिस चीज के लिए प्रयत्न करें वो हो जाए। बट जब कंबशन का प्लेनेट आ रहा है तो जो जलन ताप आप अंदर महसूस करते हो उससे शुद्धिकरण होता है। दैट्स व्हाई इट इज बेसिकली अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट दशा टू हैंडल। क्यों? क्योंकि जो आप, अगर मेरा उंगली तवे पर रखी है, आप मेरा बहुत अच्छे दोस्त भी हो, आप मेरे संग सहानुभूति रख सकते हो, लेकिन मेरी जलन को आप महसूस नहीं कर सकते। यू कैन बी वेरी एम्पैथेटिक टू मी कि वो सर को लग गई, ये हो गया, वो हो गया, बट जिस चीज से मैं गुजर रहा हूं वो आप अनुभव नहीं कर सकते। आप
वेरी करेक्ट।
तो इसलिए कंबस्ट प्लेनेट की दशा बेसिकली व्यक्ति को इंट्रोवर्ट करने के लिए आती है, क्योंकि वो जिस एक्सपीरियंस से गुजरता है, एक्सपीरियंस कौन से होंगे? ऑब्वियसली वही होंगे तो ग्रह जहाँ बैठा हुआ है, लॉर्डशिप है, नक्षत्र के प्लेसमेंट है, उसके हिसाब से एक्सपीरियंस होंगे। बट इट इज बेसिकली a spiritual dasha which is there to clean you spiritual, because surya is the most spiritual planet, हमारी आत्मा है। तो आत्मा को क्लीन करने के लिए दशा आती है। अब जब भी आत्मा को क्लीन करने के लिए कोई दशा आएगी, मन पर तो काबू करना पड़ेगा। सो इट इज बेसिकली अ दशा व्हेन यू हैव टू बी वेरी डिसिप्लिन। You like it or doesn't like it, don't like it, there is, the planet is not bothered, because that again, that is your karma. So it is time when you have to be disciplined. Surya is combusting your planet, so that means you have to be dharma oriented. There is no wish. If you, so it is like whatever you are supposed to do, you have to do, you like it or not. So that's why it becomes a little bit tricky and difficult to handle for humans. On a spiritual level, it is a very auspicious दशा, बिकॉज आप आत्मा के रूप में शुद्धिकरण की तरफ जा रहे हो, तो एक बहुत अच्छी दशा है. बट मटेरियलिस्टिकली या गृहस्थ लोगों के लिए या आम लोगों के लिए थोड़ा कष्टकारी हो.
Okay. Beautifully explained, sir. Dr. Pai, would you like to add something, or would you like to share your views?
Yeah, I think he has summarized it very well. I would just add that in Krishna consciousness, when you understand Krishna, he talks about even in Srimad Bhagavatam, they talk about a concept called as tapatraya. Have you heard of this word? मैं तापत्रय में आ गया. Tapa means to burn. Tapo Tapo Shakti means you have meditated and you have really created heat. That's why it is called as heat in the consciousness, spiritual consciousness. So Tapatriya can be only when you go through the dasha of the Combust planet. You go through the spiritual aspects. There are three of them. Tapatraya means Adhyatmik. Either you can go on the Adhyatmik path, which is more of a spiritual. Then Adi Vaidika or Adi Daivika, we say, which means pure Vedic path or going through gods or divinity. And Adi Bhautika, which means mostly trying to understand the primitive elements which are causing everything, which means trees, rivers, lakes, birds, everything is Adi Bhautika. So Adi Bhautika means which is made from the Panch Mahabhutas. So you will be forced to go and make peace with either one of them. Either you will go Adhyatmic during this time, or you will go Adi Vedic or Adi Daivik. Daivik means divinity, Vedic means purity. So you are looking for purification. And finally, other people will start valuing the resources that have been given to us. If you are not able to come to terms with any of this, it will be a very painful period for you. You have to align yourself with Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, Adi Vedic, or Adhyatmik. So, if you see this transformation coming in their life, then it will be more easy to accept the materialistic changes that are happening. That are, materialistically, you might be blocked in many ways, but spiritually, you will see a great smooth progress that will happen. So, people then will try to see, okay, I cannot manifest this materialistically. Let me go more into the spiritual path, the Vedic path. That is what I have seen. That will be very helpful for these people.
Okay. Dr. Pai, one last question before we end this session is, what uh, what do we expect in Dasha Chidra? We both, Alok sir and you, have talked about Dasha Chidra, when one Dasha is going and the other Dasha is entering. Why is this confluence so important? Or what can astrologers study out of this?
Okay, for to understand Dasha Chidra, you can understand every little phenomenon that is happening with Sandhi. Sandhi Kal. Sandhi Kal means from night to day, the change that is happening is also from darkness to light is also a Sandhi. That's the first Sandhi that we know. Then from day to afternoon, then from evening to night. So these are all the Sandhi periods. Okay. Then even the change of the week is also a Sunday, which means every weekday has to start with a Sunday at sunrise time and will end with the Saturday. So that sunrise between Saturday and Sunday, we love the Saturday because it's a holiday in most parts of the world, and Sunday you're getting up to. It is a holy day actually. Sunday means it's a holy day. It was to be focused on your Kula Devata. Sun represents your Kula Devata. So that is why Sunday was given a holiday, but we today we take it as a holiday. It is a holy day, right? So that is also a Sandhi. Then all Sandhis which are there between, Paksha. Pakshas means when you are changing from Krishna Paksha to Shukla Paksha. New moon, full moon, these are also great transformations that are also happening, right? So even uh, your ayanas, Uttarayana, Dakshinayana. This is also a change that is happening, right? So even Varsha, Samavatsara, we say, change of a year also is a point where the Sandhi is from one old to new. So that means these dasha chidras are all about trying to understand these changes that are happening on a day-to-day basis. We will see these are happening day to night, night to day, right? Week changes, paksha changes. So these are all very important points to understand. So if you understand and you're handling these energies more well, then you will be able to handle the Chidra also. But there are certain, as I told you, there are sandhis, which I said. I told you about Kuja Rahu Sandhi, Rahu Brahaspati Sandhi, Shukra Aditya Sandhi. These are all going to be little bit not so easy transformations that is going to happen. So, if you understand our Vedic text, to be able to combat these sandhis, they used to go to Indra, because Indra is the Lord who used to understand to change anything, and Indra was worshipped to understand this. Nowadays, because Indra's worship is not very prominent as much it was in the Vedic times, today you can go to Lord Ganapati, because Lord Ganapati will remove the obstacles which come in our path when you're changing, from one form to another. And the other thing is Agni. Agni also is the interface between humans and the gods, because we give him oblations, everything to Agni here, and he is the distributor of that into the heavens. So which means if we have to give it to Lord Ganapati, we give it to Agni here, and we say, give distribute it to Lord Ganapati here. Fire then distributes it there. Right? So that's why Agni is another way of trying to interface between these times. That's why if you understand Agnihotra, Agnihotra, we pray to the sun god during the day, and when the night comes, we pray to Agni, because the bantan is shared between Surya and Agni. So the night Surya is Agni on the earth. So Surya and Agni, just how they play and interplay, similarly, these Dasha Chidras will also have that bantan which is changing, which means you are running a relay race, and your relay race, you're giving the bantan to the next deity to run. So what is another very big Dasha Chidra you can actually work on is Sankrantis, because the sun is also changing signs during that. So every month there is a solar deity which is given Aditya. And next month there is a new solar deity. So when Surya is at 0 degrees of the sidereal zodiac, that is when the Bantan is changing. So it might change from Twastra Aditya to Vishnu Aditya. So Vishnu then Aditya becomes the lord of the month. So there is a change of guard that is happening. So Dashar Chitra is also the change of guard that is happening. And that is the weakest point. Whenever the enemies used to attack, they used to see when this change of guard is happening, and they would use that time to infiltrate inside the fort, because that is a very delicate time, because one is completely tired and he's letting go, and somebody else new is going to come. So that interface time is when the enemies used to enter the fort. So do you understand? So that is why energies can enter during the Dasha Chidra. Good, bad, ugly, all of them. So that's why you will have to fortify yourself in one way, if I have to say. So these dasha changes are very crucial. Anyway, that was my take on the Dasha Chidra. Alokji, I would
Yes.
like to listen to what
Alok
you
sir,
Yeah,
have.
would you
I mean,
like to
beautifully
add something?
explained, sir. Beautifully explained, and I would like to put it into my words. I use little general words. So it's like you have to see whether the transition is happening from Shubh to Ashubh, Shubh to Shubh, Ashubh to Shubh, right? So this is like depending upon the lordship and the placement and the of the planet. You have to see it in this manner that it is like the case when you have one planet has resigned from your job and the other one has not joined. So it's like the way we change jobs. एक ने रिजाइन कर दिया एक नौकरी से और दूसरी जगह ज्वाइन नहीं किया, इसके दो कंडीशंस हो सकती है. Either both the planets can be irresponsible. The one planet will say I have already resigned, and the other said I have not joined, why should I bother about this person? Then you are alone, naked in front of all the evils of the world. That's why it's very dangerous. When it is Shubh to Shubh, or say Ashubh to Shubh, then the other planet who is going to join has already started working on you, although he has not joined you. So you will see that glimpses of that graha. For example, Rahu Dasha Mangal Antardasha can show you what Guru is going to do, because Guru has already started working on you. Although Rahu has not fully resigned, but Guru has communicated with Rahu, because and that doesn't depend upon the natural karakatva of Guru. I am talking about the position and the aspect or the placement of the Brahaspati. And when it happens from Shubh to Ashubh, then it becomes very dangerous. That's why Guru Dasha Rahu Antar. I mean, I'm just giving an example. Guru Dasha Rahu Antar Dasha, and when Saturn is bad in your chart, can be super dangerous, because that Guru Dasha Rahu Antar Dasha is showing you what Saturn is going to do with you for 19 years. Like Dr. Saab was saying, that the trailer of the Dasha can be seen in the Hora of the planet. Same way, this Dasha Shadra, that's why they become so important. And I have observed that planet who is the fourth lord in the upcoming dasha, the upcoming dasha is of the fourth lord, and the dasha shidra is not related with the fourth house, but you will do the token of the property in the dasha shidra, so that when the dasha of the fourth lord will come, you are basically getting into the property or getting into the home, although both the planet are not related with fourth house, but the stage setting has been done. So stage setting for either good or bad, depending upon natural karakatva and the placement or the position of the planet, is done in the dasha chitra. That's why it is very important time. I mean, I give very, very minute attention to any dasha chitra, specifically when the natural malefic is giving you the next, like say Rahu giving you Jupiter, Saturn giving you Mercury, Mangal giving you Rahu. I mean, from natural malefic to benefic or natural benefic to malefic. It is, if you see Ketu Dasha last chapter, it will give you that indication that okay, now you can get into, if the Venus is well placed. Uh, Now you can see what Shukra is going to do. You were into Vairagya, spirituality, headlessness, maybe if it is bad for the last 6.5 years. Now it will give you a glimpse that what Shukra can do for you in 20 years. So it can be very exciting time and very disappointing time. So that can be examined. Mostly we Jyotishi can have an idea only that okay, this is going to happen. But जैसे गुरु के आने से पहले झाड़ू लगने लगती है, रंग रोगन होने लगता है, मालाएं टंग जाती हैं, वो टाइम है ये। और या फिर तूफान से पहले की शांति है। तो दोनों ही दिशा में ये बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट टाइम। सो इसलिए इसका महत्व है, इसीलिए इसको शब्द भी दिया गया है। सो मुझे मुझे इसको देखना अच्छा लगता है और मैं इससे थोड़ा अंदाजा लगा पाता हूँ कि जैसे डॉक्टर साहब के पास अपनी एक तकनीक है अंदाजा लगाने की कि पूरी दशा कैसी होगी, तो दशा छिद्र से मैं अगली दशा का अंदाजा लगाता हूँ कि वो कैसी होगी।
Beautifully explained, sir. Dr. Pai, sir, we will like to end our session now. But before we end, Dr. Pai, would you like to add anything in this session about Dashas, Nakshatra, anything that you would like to mention?
No, before you start with your dasha, I would say always put a fresh pair of toran. It's a overhang over your door. Usually made of mango. They use marigold, गेंदे का फूल भी लगाते हैं. Toran. Toran means it is the entry point of going into something new. So that's why, like Graha Pravesh also you also have that hang over your main door. So it is like an entrance. You are entering into a new field of consciousness. Okay. So that is one thing. And one more thing. Um, just to say about dashas, nobody should get overrun with the dashas that you are going into, because just because you've watched a lot of YouTube videos on that dasha is not going to make any sense, because every dasha for everybody might be working very differently based on their individual parameters. So the other thing that people also go into when you're looking at it, dashas have to be given more importance. But unfortunately, I see a lot of people are obsessed with the transits. See, transits, as I said to you, is only, adrida, which means not everything will manifest for you. What is drida is the fixed is the dasha. But the obsession with the today's community is to see, okay, when Jupiter is going to go to another sign, when Saturn transit will mean, it means, it is cannot be generalized to everybody, but it has to be always used in tune with your dasha based system. Only then the gochar or the grahachar will be more actively understood. But people are just wanting to know from my lagna, if it goes into this house, what will happen? Because many of that gochar might not even manifest for you. Some might happen, some might not happen. That's why I said it is adrida karma, right? But dasha is something which is certain. If the yogas are there in the chart, first try to see the promise of the chart, but then also try to measure how much success can you get. People come to me and ask, oh, can I make 100 crores of rupees in this dasha? Or tell me what remedies to do. First of all, no, nothing can be given based on, say, I cannot create anything for you. If that was the case, then I would have done for myself from my research and I would not be doing Jyotish, isn't it? If I knew how to win a lottery, people come and say, can you give me the numbers for a lottery? It is not possible. Let us accept the fact. But what we can do is, I want to say, ultimately, this is the summary I want to say from studying Jyotish and learning Jyotish. I don't do any remedies. I tell openly everybody, I don't do any remedies. I pray. I meditate. Ye bas hai. Okay, let's leave it to Lord Almighty or Shri Krishna. Krishna is there to take care of all of us. Whatever is deserved, we will receive it. But always make efforts to become better human beings is the only thing I want to leave. See, understanding Jyotish is to understand your your karmas, and your awareness about the karmas is good. But you cannot go and change what is not there for you or what is not destined. But you have free will. So, through that free will, let us use this science to really uplift ourselves and to become better human beings. That is what I would say is the crux of this science. So, with that, I want to end my little bit, but I'm sure I want to listen to what Alokji has to say about this discussion.
I fully agree with you on this, sir, and I want to add a little bit of my view on this. So obviously, everybody knows that it is the most important aspect of Jyotish. But the awareness, when you use Jyotish for awareness, for example, जब हम when we are traveling and we know okay this 50-kilometer patch is not very great, so we automatically put up our seat belt and we are aware. Since we are aware, then we are not cribbing Modi ji that okay India is not developed, or maybe any other politicians, because we are aware that this 50-kilometer patch is not great, and after that you have a highway. So awareness of the dasha, either good or bad, can do all the magic for you. So for example, if you are running into eighth lord dasha and your Jyotishi is a right Jyotishi and he has made you aware that okay there can be some hiccups, then you are ready for it. Because dasha, anyway, all the grahas and dashas are working on your mind, and dasha is also a state of mind basically. सो वो दुर्दशा नहीं करे आपकी, दुर्दशा कहाँ से होती है, मन के लेवल पर होती है सबसे. So if you are aware through a good Jyotishi that okay this is a very great time, if it is a great time I will increase my effort by say 2x. If it is not a very great time, I will limit myself to meditate more. I will not do any adventure with finances or maybe relationship during this time. If I can resist, although it is very difficult to resist because these are the fixed karma. But still, if I have this awareness in my mind, okay, this is a time which is not great for my marriage. So at that point of time when I'm fighting with my wife, that words basically can cool me down and help the relationship to survive. So the awareness of the dasha, awareness of the upcoming time is the most beautiful aspect of Jyotish. It is not about prediction. It is basically an awareness कि यार ये अच्छा हो रहा है, अच्छा होने को है तो वी आर वेरी एक्साइटेड, हम अपने सब रिसोर्स से जोड़ के पूरी ताकत से जोड़ते हैं। और अगर ये खराब होने को है तो अब थोड़ा ध्यान की तरफ जाते हैं, थोड़ा मंत्र की तरफ जाते हैं, ताकि हम कोई मेजर गलती नहीं करें। इवेंट होना है तो इवेंट को तो नहीं टाला जा सकता, पेन को टाला जा सकता है या कम किया जा सकता है, रिस्पॉन्स को कम बढ़ किया जा सकता है। अगर इवेंट को टाला जा सकता है तो ज्योतिष का मतलब ही खत्म हो गया बेसिकली। तो दैट्स व्हाई इट इज सो इम्पोर्टेंट कि हम इसको यूज करें, और इसको यूज करके अल्टीमेटली सबका ऑब्जेक्टिव बहुत सिंपल है, वी ऑल ऑफ अस वांट टू बी हैप्पी, एंड हैप्पीनेस अगेन इज a स्टेट ऑफ माइंड. It is not related with any event or any basically materialistic or spiritual thing even. तो अगर ये पता हो, दशा को सही तरीके से यूज करते हैं, देन आज में वर्तमान में अच्छे से जिया जा सकता है। ये मेरा टेक।
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Pai. This was an amazing session, a very interesting and informative session. But like we say, all good things do come to an end. So we have to end our session here. And thank you so much for giving us time from your important schedule. So, namaskar,
थैंक यू
Dr.
वेरी
Pai.
मच।
Namaskar, Alok sir. तो दर्शकों, ये थे हमारे डॉक्टर पाई और आलोक सर discussing the importance of Dasha in Vedic Jyotish. We'll again come back with another podcast topic very soon. Till then, namaskar.